Hey guys, welcome to today's video. Today we are taking a look at things that are coming out and asking that question. Will I buy it? I am going to be doing a laser in a couple of days, you guys, and I expect that I will not be shooting for at least a week. And I'm trying to pre-film, but I had some other appointments that are getting in the way of how many days I have available to pre-film, because I can only shoot, during certain hours of the day, and naturally I have a dentist appointment at 11. When I'm shooting is my window for shooting is 11 to 1 pretty much. So let's get into, will I buy it? I found most of these on Trendmood, a couple from Cheap Profile Official. I'm not going to go too deep, and yet I have a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. So Tower 28 is coming out with an SPF/tinted sunscreen, and it looks like there's a lot of colors. It's $30, which is on the higher range, but of course, I just did Elastin, which is $55, but that's a real sunscreen. It's a doctor's brand. You'll find it in a doctor's office, and I think, I'm getting some good ingredients with that. This I'm curious about. We shall see. It would be nice to have something else that doesn't turn as warm as most sunscreens do, so I might take a look at it. With everything I'm going to talk about, you guys, let me know down below what you definitely would like me to look at, because I probably will if, a couple of people at least say yes. Mac times Whitney Houston. Okay, a rant so early in the video. I do not believe for a minute that Prince would have approved a makeup line for Urban Decay. I do not. I don't. Prince is a god among kings. He was a genius, a musical genius, and that's just icky. It's icky. And now they're doing the same thing to Whitney Houston, who had a tragic life. I mean, there was addiction and issues and everything else, but a beautiful life and a tight family. And she was blessed with one of the best voices of all time. Powerful singer. Just for people my age, she is the soundtrack of our lives. I mean, I have a lot of people in my soundtrack. Whitney Houston was one of them. And this kind of breaks my heart. So apparently it was very confusing on Trendmood, but I guess they're doing a biopic. And then Mac is going to create or recreate looks from periods in her life, and it's a long-term relationship. Now, to me, Whitney Houston wasn't known for her makeup. Hair, yes. A wig line, I get it. Makeup, not really. She was stunning. I actually have met her, and my jaw dropped. She was so stunning, so soft-spoken. I didn't know her well. I couldn't say who she was, but she really, really had a presence and was incredibly beautiful. But to me, I think Whitney Houston, maybe hair more than makeup. This kind of bothers me. I think it doesn't do her justice. It doesn't honor her memory, and I'm not interested at all. It breaks my heart to see people who are icons who passed away recently. I mean, I guess it wasn't that recent, but still, it just bothers me because I'm the generation that remembers her. Do it another 20 years when I won't be alive anymore, and no one really remembers her. It's not the soundtrack of their lives. You know what I mean? It's like Marilyn Monroe became huge way after she died. All the posters and the makeup and the whole bit. I didn't watch Marilyn Monroe movies. I didn't go to the theater and see them. I saw them on TV, so it wasn't part of my life. And that's how long you should wait, in my humble opinion. So, no, I'm curious, but no. Jaclyn Hill is doing a palette. This is, I guess, for holiday. A lot of these are. It's Morphe. Morphe is a company that I don't think highly of. It's only $18, and it has a nice look. It has that Kendall look, the Kim look, this nice look to it, but it's fairly warm, and it's out now. It's $18. I don't think so. Again, let me know if you're interested. Glowish. So Glowish is the baby brand to Huda. I still don't really understand what the point of Glowish is, to be perfectly honest. They're coming out with pressed powders, but they're tinted pressed powders. But it didn't say if they were foundations. But there's a lot of colors. I think there were 18 colors, which is interesting. They're $33, I believe. And for me, no. From the pictures I saw, they seem quite olive. Now, it's hard to tell with filters and that kind of stuff. Maybe the colors aren't quite olive, but I have found that Huda is a difficult brand for me when it comes to face products because they run a different undertone than I am, and I'm just not. I'm 59, you guys. I'm not buying a lot of powder. I have a lot of powder, which is strange. They also have 4 blush shades. Now these are $21, which is more on the reasonable shade. There's 2 quite dark ones, so if you have dark skin tone, you need to check out this brand because they run a little dark. To me, there's 1 shade that would probably work for me, maybe 2, but it's peach, not my favorite. Let me know if you're interested. I will take one for the team, but I'm not inclined to at all. Glossier. I own nothing from Glossier. Nothing. So if you're interested, I'm going to stop saying that. You know the drill. They're coming out with a 3-pan palette. Well, a bunch of 3-pan palettes in many different colorways. 1 shade is matte, 1 is metallic, and 1 is satin. But it's called monochromatic, and that's what it is. So it's $22. The refill is $18. And I'm not sure if the refill is something you could kind of carry on its own. I kind of don't think so. I think you have to start with the 3-pan for $22. Here's the thing, if you are someone who's just into that layering the same color with different finishes, then fine, this is a place for you to go. But I like a little tension. I like a couple of colors. And if you bought 2, you'd be $44 in, which is pretty close to an ABH palette, which has a lot more colors. So personally, I'm not so sure that I would do it for myself, but this is a very high candidate for doing it for you. Let me know, and that's the last time I will say that in this video. Urban Decay. Everybody is doing collaborations with the House of Disney. And this is Marvel Studios, which is, of course, under the House of Disney. And there's a lot. There's a palette that is pretty, but it's not knocking me out. It's not like, oh, hell no. But, you know. Then there is a highlighter in 2 shades. There's some eyeliners and lips. Those are out October 1. And I would say probably not. Probably not. And this is where I say the thing that I'm not going to say. Wayne Goss has a new palette called the Tourmaline palette, which is very confusing for a couple of reasons. I used to have a tourmaline necklace and it wasn't this color. But tourmaline, actually, I looked it up, has many colors within it, but not really this color. I was thinking, yes, I'm going to buy it. I actually put it in my calendar. And then I saw a couple of videos and I thought, you know what? I just got the Natasha Denona palette, retro, and it looks very, very similar. And then I saw Tara Lynn, and I will link her video below. She did a By Terry palette, which I don't have. She did a Nabla palette that I don't have. She did the Denona palette. She did several palettes that I don't have. And I believe that this color story is already out there. It's already out there at a better price, or if it's not a better price, much better variety within the palette. Where this one looks like the 2 light shades are very similar, the 2 dark shades are very similar. It's, again, not enough. There's not a significant enough change in the depth of tone or the color in several of these to warrant it. And I already have the Natasha Denona. So I was going to, but now I'm thinking not so much. House Labs. I've never bought anything from House Labs. Apparently it's only available on Amazon, and House Labs is the actress singer whose name I do not remember. She was in The Star is Born. OMG. You know who I'm talking about. This palette is actually kind of pretty, but if you take out the couple of pops of color, it's very, very warm, and I just feel like I have that box, hi baby, checked, So probably not. Okay, well, let's just say it, you guys. I'm going to say it. I've said it before, but I think I mean it this time. Pat Mcgrath Labs Celestial Odyssey, 18 shades, $78. It looks like there's only 3 or 4 mattes in here. I am going to step aside when it comes to Pat Mcgrath. I can look at them and admire their beauty because they're beautiful. But I have to recognize that they don't suit me because I'm deeply hooded and I just don't have that life. It's fun to do those kind of dramatic looks, but they're really more fantasy based. And I don't have a fantasy life. Chantecaille. So this is holiday exclusive to Neiman Marcus as far as I can tell. Maybe it'll start there. 3 things. A blush for $75, 1 eyeshadow for $75, and a highlighter for $110. The packaging is stunning. I believe that they did packaging like this about 3 years ago. I don't remember if it was a powder or a highlighter, but the embossing on this highlighter is so beautiful. Hopefully that's done for a little bit. The embossing on this is beautiful. The color looks like it might be pretty darn icy, but you just can't tell with highlighters anymore. Sometimes they look icy and you put them on and they're warm gold. So I don't know. It looks like a collector's item. Normally I would say no, but I really regretted and kind of hunted for this same packaging they did a few years ago because it's stunning. I'm not a person who buys highlighter after highlighter after highlighter, so I can kind of justify it if it is beautiful. So I might. I don't know. Maybe. ABH. I was wondering what is going on with ABH. I don't understand them anymore. And boom, they're hitting us with a holiday palette. And this one also has 2 blushes in it. From the pictures I saw, the blushes are very, very warm. And really, they're saying this is a rose-inspired palette, but it looks very, very warm. There are 3 colors that are plum, not rose. That's plum. And I'm hearkened back to Denona and to Goss, and I'm thinking, I think I have those colors covered, and I know I have the warm colors covered. This is a video coming up, so probably not. Gucci, this is exclusive to Saks, and the packaging is stunning. Gucci does some of the best packaging. I love the vintage feel to their packaging. This one for me is a little too much, because I think of their packaging is more 30s, 40s, and this is a little bit kitschy, a little bit more in the zone where you can do it wrong. And the way they did this palette, I think you gotta mix a little modern with it, and that isn't. But let's throw away that packaging, which is interesting, and there's a word for it, a French expression, ugly pretty. I'm just gonna keep stopping and starting because I have to shoot because I'm doing the laser. It's $149 and the colors aren't all that interesting to me. I've never tried Gucci's eyeshadows, so again, if you'd like me to, I will. Let me know. Suq. So everything I've done now is from Trend Moods, and now I'm going to Cheek Profile Official. Suq is coming out with another blush palette that's very pretty, but I have one from them, so I don't feel like I need any more. Let's face it, I feel like I have a lot of blushes. And a couple of new eyeshadow quads. I have a quad from them that I really, really like, but I've got to take a closer look at these because they feel like something I've already have. Guerlain for holidays, coming out with a bronzer, which I've never had a Guerlain bronzer. Okay, so they also have new Meteorites, which I have a Meteorite, which I never spoke about or use really because I can't say I really get it. And I'm not a huge powder person. I put on powder to take away my sheen or to dry everything before I go in with a powder blush, but I'm not like, okay, here's my foundation, now I'm going to set it. Now I'm going to do my powder products, and now I'm going to do a finishing powder. You know, I think unless you have oily skin at my age, we don't double powder. So I don't think I'm going to do either of these unless you guys say yes, you want to see it. Becca, I don't understand what's going on. Limited edition highlighters, and Becca's highlighters are beautiful in Spanish Rose and Rose Quartz. And these look so pretty. I am very tempted. So the two things that I'm most interested in, I think, are two highlighters, which is so strange for me. But maybe Charlotte Tilbury is doing her big thing. I think it's already out. The Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette, no. And then she's doing a quad, which is a very confusing name. Celestial Pearl Luxury Palette of Pearls. No. Now, it's kind of similar to Pat McGrath, even though their aesthetics are very different. But she doesn't have enough mattes. And I'm not going to put the shiny stuff right here, especially in a light color. And I feel like the color stories I've kind of seen, like that green one I like, but I do have the green quad from her. The other ones, no, it's not interesting to me. So I'm going to pass on both of those. Natasha Denona is doing a mini Metropolis. Now I have the Metropolis, so I am very curious to see if the shades are exactly, because sometimes they're not. Sometimes she'll give it the namesake, but she'll bring in other colors as if these would have been in the palette. These belong in the palette, but they aren't of the palette. And if that's the case, I might, because even though I've heard people say it's boring, boring's okay. I love this mustardy kind of color. It's a little more agreeable than orange for a lot of people. It's a little more subtle, and that blue is very pretty. So that is actually a maybe. It's kind of, actually, look at my shirt. We got the blue and we got the mustard. This is a color story that I like. I love this sweater. And look at this from Armani. This is an eyeshadow palette. I thought it was a blush palette because of the colors. They're very watercolor. And there's some lavenders and some pinks, and I mean, a couple obviously wouldn't be for the cheeks, but maybe, depending on your skin tone. But this is an eyeshadow palette. And I saw somebody say that they felt that this is probably more created for the Asian market because that watercolor kind of eyeshadow look is very popular in Japan and Korea. I'm not so sure about it because, well, it's beautiful. It is a work of art. But is it something that I would wear? I don't know, but I'm compelled, and I can be convinced, you guys. And that's going to do it. There's not much in the skin products. It seems to be pretty heavy in eyeshadow. I'm fine with that. I love eyeshadow. But I'm not seeing anything that's I look at and think, I don't have that. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have things that are repeats in my collection, but usually when I buy something, there's something about it that is special to me. And these, like the house, I think that area at the bottom, I'm thinking yes. But then if you cover that up, it's like 3 rows or 2.5 rows of stuff I think I have. And so I'm looking for a ratio. I want to see something that I don't quite have, and I don't want it to be just one shade. Although, if it was a shade that was heartbreakingly beautiful, I would go there. But that is it, you guys. That is my will I buy it? And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are below. Wish me good luck with my laser. I did an BBL on my chest yesterday because my chest is always so red, and the machine that my doctor uses, he can turn up the knob for red or turn up the knob for brown or have it balanced, and he did a very red focused, brought it up to the neck because I'm always red in the neck as well. And I'm kind of excited. I'm going to have 3 BBL treatments, but the big laser treatment I'm going to have is the halo, and I'm doing that on Saturday. And from the pictures I've seen, and the esthetician who's going to do it for me, her pictures, she was so swollen, like a bullfrog. And I think it's going to be a solid 5 days where I won't even be able to fake it. I've heard that the first 2 days aren't bad. But yeah, I just don't know what to expect. So I'm expecting not to be shooting for probably 5 days or so. And that's it. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope this is helpful to you. You know what's going on. You know what my thoughts are. And you know that I'm always welcome. I always welcome your voice if there's something you're interested in. Until we meet again, be safe and smart. And I'm wishing you good health.